Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special broadcast on NorthWest Digital News. Kevin Hunter, Kyle Torgerson, and of course our special guest, Harry Brelsford with SMB Nation.
All right, happy to be here.
Yeah, well, we're glad to be here, and for everybody who's following us, this is not our typical studio setup that you see. We're out here on
Bainbridge Island,
Bainbridge
South
Island.
Beach. Yeah.
Yes, South Beach.
Yep.
So, Harry, this is a place you've been calling home for the last 15 years, right?
15 years and home office, and you got it.
We don't feel sorry for you at all.
There you go.
So you're actually in the process now of finding a new location because you've had kids move away from home and life is kind of changing and.
Yeah, and Kevin, you'd be amazed. You know, I came up through the Microsoft era and the Seattle tech boom and so on. And everybody I talk to is kind of at that same stage of life. You know what I mean? The kids are in college or out of college, and Seattle's hot, and people are looking at like, well, maybe it's time to just, you know, quite frankly, cash in the chips and downsize to something reasonable and get focused on what we do best.
Now, one of the things that I wanted to visit a little bit about, because you mentioned that how many things have changed even in your world and in the world of tech. And I think about, you know, what we do on NorthWest Digital News, and we're here today producing a similar quality broadcast, and we're out of our studio.
Yeah,
and we've got a nice Blue Yeti microphone here, a Canon camera over here that's running on a device right into the laptop, and everything is so mobile these days that it's just incredible. And you mentioned that your business is highly mobile as well. Talk about that.
Yeah. There's a correlation here. I mean, because you're kicking out over TCP/IP on Wi-Fi right to the world, and let's go with that. That in my world and where I made my name in yesteryear was server side, right? I wrote some books on Windows Server, small business server, and literally the server paradigm was within four walls, right?
Sure.
and that's all gone. Right. And now it's cloud. And so not only can I run my company from anywhere, but I guess I can participate in interviews anywhere.
That's right. That's right.
So it has really changed. And I mean, if you don't mind, I just did a piece the other day on unified communications. So that would be, a lot of people might be thinking Skype and the video cameras and so on. And I did a little research. So the Society for Human Resource Managers, SHRM, kicked out a piece that said in 18 months from now, so the 2020s, early 2020s, 75% of the labor force, the workforce, will have a mobility component, and I believe it.
Yeah. We're seeing evidence of it in all sectors, and then, of course, the media business that Kyle and I are in and the tech business that you're in, it's all just gone totally mobile.
Every day.
Yeah.
So that's, it's been cool.
What do you think, you know, based on what you're seeing in tech and your exposure to tech, just for our viewing audience who may not be familiar with the work that you do, Harry, and the things that you've done with SMB Nation. It's not an uncommon thing for you to travel really anywhere in the United States or even overseas for that matter.
Right.
And visiting with people and professionals in the area of tech. I actually mentioned your name to a few people that I know who are in either the network support business or doing computer consulting, etc. And said, hey, do you know Harry? And there was like, Harry Brelsford from SMB Nation? Yeah, of course I know who he is. So for people that may not be familiar with the work that you've done and the exposure that you've had in the tech field. Just visit about that a little bit, your background, and then if you would, share where kind of you see things going. Like what are some of the big issues that business people really should be aware of in the area of tech moving forward?
Well, so why don't we kind of do this in almost a timeline. So SMB Nation, 19-year-old community built on the back of small business server and Windows Server, and of course we've evolved, right? We're now having conversations about cloud and beyond, but at the core, at least my vision of the world was it's still relationships, right? So people want to, and I've heard you talk about this on some of your your programming. People don't want to be sold to; they want to be educated.
That's correct.
They want to like you.
Yes.
And that's really the core of what I guess I would call our outreach. SMB Nation for many, many years was known for our events. So either, beer summits that we would go to DC and Philly and do, or the 3-day we would do on the Microsoft campus here and people would fly into. But people still want to talk to people. And
Correct.
And so that has been an asset for us, and especially in this era of people, don't get me going, but people who hide behind text and email, right? That's not community building.
Right.
Now, moving forward, what I would tell you is it's really unbelievable in terms of how things are talking to each other. Now we can have a whole nother hour together talking about the security of things talking to each other, because that is a blind spot.
Correct.
It's the security, the stuff in your kitchen and so on, being connected to the net. But let's put that aside. But on a more technical note, the new rock stars are developers who are creating this glue. We call APIs, but this glue to get stuff to talk to each other. And that's where I see it going. And again, we're going to hit speed bumps along the way, and the biggest speed bump of all is security. But it is coming, and that's, I guess, my future view is you got to embrace this integration, because it's automation, integration, going across the internet. I still think automation, robotics, all that. I mean, yeah, that's coming, but I don't know about you, but that feels a little more like industry specific, like industrial manufacturing.
I think
stuff.
you're right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's kind of over here still. So that's my forecast.
So with all the concerns about security, and I'm sure you're aware of this, I was kind of blown away by the fact that there's actual hacker conventions.
Oh, they're wonderful.
Yeah.
They are. If you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, if you can't beat them, join them. So from a business standpoint, for people, because there are so many people, I'm still surprised by how many people are just really ignorant about technology, about the internet, about the risk, and about security.
Yeah. Yeah, and therein lies the opportunity. Now, remember, my audience at SMB Nation are what we call partners or managed services providers or resellers of ours or computer consultants. We used to, forget the gender ref, we used to call them computer guys.
Right.
Right, back in the day. And so they're serving the architectural firm. It's a good example, the architectural firm. Could you imagine the security risk with the new tunnel that's being finished under downtown Seattle, right? I mean, there's some real proprietary information that should not get out.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, it's, that's dangerous stuff, the plans and the this and that. And I'll just leave it to your imagination, but could you imagine, right? But therein lies the opportunity, right? That a person either trying to make a career change or a young person starting out, whew, boy howdy, security is a good one. So that's it.
What we're looking to bring to our audiences with Northwest Digital News, Harry, is Kyle and I have been talking about this Tech Tuesdays.
Right.
And so for those of you in our viewing audience who are following us today, Harry will participate on our Tech Tuesdays, and depending upon your availability, we could probably do a couple of these a month, if that works out for you.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and that would be great to do that, and then taking various components of your background, your expertise, and really helping our business community take more of a forward look as well as to what's coming in the areas of tech and the things to be aware of. And there's just so much.
Yeah.
I think about our communities in Cowlitz County, and we were driving up here even today and talking about how behind we observe so many people are, and the comments or concerns or things that they bring to our attention. And I'm sitting there going, wow, I was thinking about that 10 years ago. You know, it's amazing that that's finally getting on the plate for some business people. So what I really hope will come out of our Tech Tuesdays is that we can kind of help accelerate that learning curve for people. And maybe on this book that you wrote this back in, how many years ago was this?
Well, I'm embarrassed. That was like 1999, one of the first editions of Small Business Server.
Yeah.
And that's back when books were thick.
That's back when books were thick, yes. Teach Yourself Microsoft Small Business Server 4.5 in 21 days, Harry Brelsford. So how many books do you have published, Harry?
Well, I wrote 20.
20?
Yeah, I just got on a tear, and oh man, I mean, I remember writing 2 at a time. It felt like, just 2 projects at a time, and literally 2 computers. But did that through, I think the last one I wrote was 2008, so 10 years ago, and I did it on voice over IP telephony.
Ah, nice.
Right? And Microsoft had a new small business phone system that in theory was supposed to get married to small business service. So if you can imagine that, right? You got the data, the server side, and you got the phone system, and they get married, and you got it all at that point. And, then life happened, and SMB Nation, started to emphasize, quite frankly, more of the digital media and the blogging and some other ways to reach out. And as everybody knows, books changed, right? A couple book resellers are gone, and it just the world changed. But I wanted to key in on kind of one thing, the writing I've done, this book in particular, and I think will be kind of cool on your show, is that we're trying to marry business and technology. I mean, that's the real epicenter, right? Is that in the Pacific Northwest, there are far smarter data scientists and developers than myself. But I think what we can bring is to connect the business to the technology, because that's kind of why we're here.
Exactly.
Why the heck are we here?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to put you a little on the spot with something. When I was in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, Microsoft also has one of their tech centers there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And we got a chance to go out there, myself and some of our cast from the Business Forum show, which I broadcast a lot of business talk radio as well. And we got a chance to go out there and see some of the things that they were working on. Right. Would there be an opportunity to do that with the Microsoft campus here?
Yeah. So those are, I think they call those the Microsoft Technology Centers, or something like that. Those lines. And no, absolutely. And what's cool about that is the diversity of the technology you can see. So for example, myself and my audience, we kind of get caught up on infrastructure and plumbing, the technology plumbing, and making it happen. That's exciting. But you go to these centers, and there's a whole nother world with the consumer side. So the gaming,
exactly,
and the gaming, it's like the old analogy. A lot of technology developments came from NASA and the military, and then have been brought to the civilian sector, right? And it's kind of the same thing.
Exactly.
And boy, howdy, B2C. That's a big market. So yeah, let's get that on our calendars. And head on over. It's a lot of fun.
Well, we will bring that event as well, get that set up, and bring that to our viewers as well, so we can share a little bit of that road trip with them. But that's some fun stuff. Kyle, what do you got?
I do have a comment from Michael Ferrix. He says, us older citizens are ignorant to all this because we didn't grow up with it. It's news to us, so just streaming this is pretty great.
Yeah. Well, I was just in a conversation the other day about ageism and technology, for lack of a better phrase, and the punchline. I don't know how well I landed it, but the punchline was talking to some younger people who are excited and on the way up, and I'm like, well, don't ever get old. Let me tell you, but one day you wake up and you've gone through a whole era or epic, and that's been the most interesting thing. And I appreciate the comment, but let's put a wrapper around that. But one of the most interesting things is it's been an honor and a privilege to, just speaking for myself, but to be in the Pacific Northwest in the era of Microsoft, now Amazon, Intel had a role in that. And, boy, howdy, that was one hell of, you have to bleep that out, of a 20-year run. But,
yes.
and it does go quick. And then to the audience member, you know, and this is a whole other show, but part of our outreach is about being a life learner and just consistently learning. Learned a couple things from you about YouTube.
Yes.
You know, so just having that mindset to consistently learn, and then maybe the worst kept secret in tech is one of the ways you can be a life learner and a life eater is like in Seattle, and to a lesser extent Portland, there's like a tech conference every week. Many of them are free. You just have to register.
Yep.
You get your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, and happy hour. You can eat for free in this industry.
Yeah, yes. Well, you know, to that point, there are so many different ways that people can learn it, and I've had some people, you know, when we've been visiting about various subjects, and it could be something, you know, even well outside of tech or well outside of media. It doesn't matter. I just have a natural curiosity to learn things,
right?
And I think for our older crowds or older people who might say that tech is a little bit intimidating and it's been a difficult learn for them. I think about, you know, I've got a little daughter who's going to turn 4 soon at home, and a little 2-year-old, and the things they already do on the computer, it's not because of how much they know about tech, it's because they're completely unafraid of learning. They're curious and they're unafraid of anything happening with it. And so it's a fantastic situation. I would simply encourage those who are feeling a little bit intimidated by it to just, you can't break anything. For the most part, plow right through it.
Yeah, exactly. And just, you know, active learning, just do it, right? Be an active learner, and you know, trust me, we've had good days and bad in tech. Fortunately, more good days, but I broke a few things along the way.
Yeah. Well, I am totally looking forward to doing our Tech Tuesdays with you, Harry, and bringing the tech messaging to our community and to our crowd. So appreciate you doing this with us.
Well, thanks for stopping by, and let's get this party started.
All right, sounds good.